digital transformation and learning and development, we have with us an eminent speaker on the subject, Dr. K.N. Rekha from Geetam to be University, deemed to be University, Hyderabad. So I take this opportunity to introduce Dr. Rekha to the participants. Dr. Rekha, presently she is working as assistant professor at deemed to be University, Geetam deemed to be University, Hyderabad. Dr. Rekha has 18 years of experience in teaching, research, and in the management industry, education industry. She is a doctorate from IIT Madras in organizational behavior. Her thesis, her area of research, mentoring, mentor characteristics on mentor outcomes. Great work done by Dr. Rekha Madam. She was a senior faculty at Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education, Department of Higher Education, Ministry of Education, Government of India, Hyderabad. She has worked on curriculum development, UG and PG level in rural management, waste management. This is one of her core strength, core competency, I could say. Designed, scheduled, and conducted more than 50 faculty development programs on rural management and one-day workshops on rural entrepreneurship development. Also, as a part of editorial team at Mahatma Gandhi National Council for Rural Education, she has brought out detailed edited volumes, books on rural management and waste management, cases and caselets on rural management. Prior to that, she has worked at ISB as a researcher and an academic associate. She also had a short stint as research fellow for a research for a year at the Center for Organizational Development. It is well known as a COD, Center for Organizational Development, located in Hyderabad. It was, I don't know, it was a center of excellence of Hyderabad University then. Under the leadership of Dr. B.L. Mageshwari, I would happy to mention about Dr. B.L. Mageshwari at this junction. Between 2000 and 2006 also, all the managers from BL, Bharat Electronics Limited, trained by Professor B.L. Mageshwari on managerial effectiveness. I am very fortunate to undergo that particular program, a one-week program, residential program designed and offered by Professor Mageshwari in the year 2002. So COD is very close to my heart, Center for Organization Development, where Dr. Rekha Madam worked for some time. She started her career as a lecturer teaching business management students at CMS College of Science and Commerce, Coimbatore. She has co-authored a book on introduction to mentoring, written books, book chapters, peer-reviewed research papers, book reviews, cases and caselets in the area of HR and organizational behavior. She also presented papers in various national and international conferences. Her research areas including mentoring, leadership, change management, and rural management. She was also invited as a guest speaker at prominent institutions including IIT Hyderabad. She can speak English, Telugu, Tamil, Malayalam, and Hindi. I don't know what is the connection of Malayalam, but I could see a true Indian in Dr. Rekha Madam, because knowing multiple languages, it is always good actually for anyone. So with this few words, let me welcome Dr. K.N. Rekha to take the session on digital transformation and learning and development. Over to you, madam.
Thank you so much, Professor, for the introduction. I was happy to note that you also worked with Dr. PL. You know Dr. PL Maheshwari. Yes, the Malayalam. I born and brought up in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, and Karnataka. That's how I know all these languages. It just came naturally. I didn't put in efforts in learning, but I have put in efforts in learning Telugu. Though it is being my mother tongue, I never studied, so I put in efforts to learn Telugu. Yeah, thank you so much, Professor, for giving me an opportunity for this session. Very good morning to all of you present here. I'm not able to see you all. I didn't expect that it's going to be like this, but very happy to be here to share my knowledge. I mean, to share the learning with you all. So without much ado, we will start the session. So today's session is on digital transformation in learning and development. And during this session, if you have any queries, if you have any questions for me, you can post it in the chat box. I will look at the chat box also, and I can answer the queries from there. Yes, so we all have witnessed a virtual gear change in the classroom learning, right? So in our today's session, I will briefly touch upon the digital transformation, and we'll also look at the various digital tools or techniques that we can use to engage our students and a few key takeaways. I think this session is going to be different from all the other sessions that you have attended to, wherein they all talked about blockchains and AR, VR. But in our session, in our today's session, we'll have hands-on experience. So I have planned the session in such a way that you are going to have a active participation during the session. I have planned few tools where you will also get hands-on experience on using them. Okay, so with that, let me get into the introduction. So higher educational institutions have always been synonymous with classroom learning, right? So this pandemic, during this pandemic, we all have seen a paradigm shift overnight. It's a change not that has not occurred only in one city or a state or a country. It had a global impact, right? Overnight, all our classroom learnings are converted into online learnings. And we, as teachers, have invested time in learning new technologies, new tools and technologies to get adapted to this online learning. And during this pandemic, technology has been an enabling partner in surpassing all the challenges that we have faced while during this online sessions, right? We have to get into redesigning of the curriculum and blended learning. We have to learn blended learning, and we have a lot of free tools that are available. Google has come forward in offering us free tools to use so that we can participate our students to actively in the learning process. And there is Kahoot, there is Mentimeter, where we can have an interactive presentations with our audience. We will also have an hands-on experience during this session. So opportunities that are available are many, but it is all about how we can leverage them at the best. And also, it is important to recognize that the digital divide has an impact. Digital divide impact has been there across the globe, right? Those who had access to these resources, those who had access to laptops, mobiles, cell phones, or radio, they were the education. They were able to get the education. They were able to access the education. But those who did not have these resources available, they were the sufferers. But we all have to observe one thing, that an element of jugaad has been introduced in the education institutes at every level in across the country, right? So I got to know about in some of the villages, they have gone ahead in broadcasting the schools, I mean the broadcasting the sessions over the speakers. right? So that shows the hunger for education that exists in our country. And also it is also important for us to recognize that during this pandemic, a value of teacher is overly recognized. That's a remarkable recognition that has happened there, wherein we all have understood the importance of a teacher or faculty in our lives, right? And we all must accept that we are all living in a different planet right now. Maybe the things are getting better, the situation is getting better, and now slowly the institutions have opened up. Even then, now few of the students are still attending from home, few are coming to physical classes. Still that challenge exists. How do we engage our students actively during the online sessions or during our sessions, right? And we need to and it's the we need to look at what is the best way of learning in this new norm. And it is important to recognize that what is according to you for students, the colleges. Can you post it? What do you think college means? What it means to students? What it means to students? What do you think? How do they perceive college or an institution or a university when they are coming in? How do they perceive that as? Knowledge sharing, yes. Gain education and gaining too, yes. Apart from this, any other thoughts? Need fulfillment? Yes, how do they get fulfillment, sir? Peace of joy, placement. Yeah, okay.
Anybody wants to speak, please raise your hand. We'll unmute.
Building their overall, yes, thank you, sir, for that. Building their overall personality. And what more? I mean, yes. College is a place of social activity for them, right? They come for, they look for friendships, they look for conversations, they look for holistic development. Yes, through extracurricular activities, they look for interacting with each other, right? So the college socialization, that's the important element that they are missing right now. All our students are missing right now, right? And when I talk to my students, I usually have the classes that are helping the peer and help the college back. Yes, they learn by doing it, right? When they are in the physical classes, they will be able to do that. Yes. So when I talk to my students, I have sessions at 10 o'clock. So how are you all doing, students, today? So they say, ma'am, we have class from 9 to 3, 9 to 4 o'clock every day. The thought itself makes us fatigue. The thought itself makes us tiresome. We feel tired. That mental fatigue is there. I said, the 10 o'clock session, you must all be fresh and you must be able to participate. That's the answer that I received from them. So how do we engage them? How do we make these learning sessions a fun for them? Right. So before I get in before I get in further, I want you all to, I want to show a video wherein that element of Jugaad has been introduced in one of the schools in Kerala. Okay. Yeah. Hope the audio would work. I don't know if you all have seen this video. This is News Minute video, 1 minute video. So one minute.
Because students have a lot of homework.
Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Play.
Is it audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am. It's audible.
Okay, thank you.
Like Harper, an econ
1
major who
minute.
piled.
It is not yet started. Yeah.
In the middle of a classroom in Malappuram, Kerala, an elephant appears next to a teacher.
1, 2, 3.
The Moorkanadu AEMAUP school is experimenting with augmented reality during their virtual classes. This is the LKG class of the school. It's not just elephants. In class 6, a Hindi teacher stands next to a cow as she explains what a guide is.
जानवर दो प्रकार है, जंगली जानवर और पालतू जानवर.
For class 5 students of social sciences, an artificially created solar system revolves in the classroom.
You know, sun is a star.
Shyam, a teacher at the school, is behind this new development. Speaker P. Shivaramakrishnan and film director Lal Jose have appreciated the school for its efforts.
Augmented reality system ഉപയോഗിച്ചിട്ടുള്ള ക്ലാസ്സുകൾ വളരെ ഗംഭീരമായിരുന്നു.
So, would you all love to sit in this one of these classes? I would love to sit in one of these classes and learn, right? So likewise, we can also bring in that jugaad element in our sessions, so that the students will feel interested, will be participating in the sessions actively, right? So that's one example. So that shows that we have tools, we have the opportunities, but it is that how we can optimally utilize those opportunities and the tools that are available to us. Irrespective of the discipline that we teach, we can bring in that jugaad element in our teaching sessions, right? So what is that for us? That what are the three elements that we need to consider how to in order to make our classroom sessions engaging or interesting or fun? After all, we all have to build our own brand in our teaching career, right? So you see, there are three elements that are important for delivering a session: the design, delivery, assessment. Oftentimes we rush to the classroom, we just pick up the material and we just go to the classroom and we just take the class. Because of the lack of time or because of lack of preparation, we just pick up here and there and we'll go and take the class. And many of us would also do design, many of us would also invest design. It is not because we are doing that we are not interested, because lack of time sometimes prompts us to just pick up whatever material is available, or teach however we want in the classroom. It is, according to me, a teacher have to invest 50% of the time in designing the sessions. Before handling the session, before handling a course, a 50% of the time has to be invested in identifying the materials, the tools, the resources, the sequence, and how it has to be delivered. Then the next is the delivery. Right. So whether we are going to use the role plays, case analysis, or videos, or interactive session, or Q&A. So that makes the difference. If we have that design, if we invest our time, 50% of the time in the design, then the delivery and will be easier. It will be more effective. In delivery is presence. How do we make ourselves present? Now I'm not able to see you all. I'm always used to have the audience interacting and seeing face to face. I mean, face to face in the sense, even in the online sessions, we all have the video switched on, and then we have interactions. This is the first time that I'm having this webinar kind of interaction. I will try to do my level best. So presence, how do we make ourselves present in the classroom? And flow and focus is also important. Focus, oftentimes we also see that if we have group discussions or any general discussions in the classroom, the students will go on and on and on, deviate from the topic. We have to bring them back and say that we are focusing on these. Oftentimes this happens in the case discussion sessions, right? So delivery is also important. Then assessment. See, assessment, I understand that we all come under the purview of university or some system where we have a particular method of assessing, but we all have internal assessment in our hands. Right. So how can we have that internal assessment? How can we design that internal assessment in such a way that our students apply the learnings in the classroom, apply the concepts in the classroom? You can, if it is a management education, you can give them the cases and ask them to analyze. And if it is an entrepreneurship class, you can ask them to talk to have a casual conversation with the milk vendor or a vegetable vendor and identify where do they get the materials from, how do they plan to sell that, how much profit they make, how do they plan their day, how do they plan their demand. So over casual conversations they can get, you can give that as an assignment to the students so that they will get hands-on experience and exposure to, if you have taught a session on entrepreneurial characteristics or on entrepreneurship mobility, you can give assignments related to it so that they will go and get an hands-on experience by interacting with people. So that's one example. If it is an IT education, you can say that how do you if there's a bug, how do you solve that bug, right? How do you fix that bug? You can give that as an assignment. So internal assessment is in our hands. So you can have group presentations, you can have management games, right? So all these types you can use so that they will learn learn to apply the concepts that we have handled in the sessions. That's very important. It is, see, the classroom sessions are not only for teaching the concepts or teaching the theory. It is also, we need to make them, enable them to apply those concepts in the real life. But that's a difficult challenge. That's a challenge. So we need to bring in that jugaad element in each of our topics and see how we can create assignments so that my students will be able to apply the learnings in real life. Right, that's a challenge that all of us can and this also can happen in collaboration. You can talk to your friends, you can talk to your peers and identify or create assessments so that it will become interesting. The students will also be interested in participating in the learning. Right, all of us will have the this challenge of how do we bring real learning into the classroom. Right? Am I right? Do we all have this learning? Yes? Can I get 1 or 2 yeses so that I know that, yes, thank you. Thank you, Sujata ma'am. Thank you, Varalakshmi ma'am, Iram sir. Yes, thank you for that response. Right? That's the challenge that we all face nowadays. So now let us, before we move forward, I want you all to take 5 minutes time. Take 5 minutes time and list out the tools and techniques that you are all using for students' engagement. Just list out those tools and techniques. Take 5 minutes time and please list out the tools and techniques that you are all using. I'm sure we all will be using different tools and techniques to engage our students, right? So I want you all to list out. Take a paper and a pen, just note down before we proceed further. I just want to get an idea of what type of tools. I also want to learn from you, what new tools you use.
Ma'am, maybe we can also allow them to speak for the next few minutes and make it a little bit interactive as you wished it.
Yes, I will do that. I have that in the next, yes. I will do that.
We see somebody has raised hand, and if they're ready, maybe we can just start once you permit.
Yeah. Yes, I will. Yeah. So first, please list down and note down, and then I will share one the Mentimeter that I have told you. I will share. You will get an exposure to how it works. Interactive software, how it works. Okay. So
Hello,
yeah.
madam. It is we generally conduct surprise objective test, which they remain attentive to make them engage in the classroom. And in the
Yes.
online classroom, and we also give some case studies to solve instantly in that particular platform.
Yes.
Then we give some exercises also to
Yes.
do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Sujata ma'am.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you so much. Please hold on to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm sharing a link here in the chat box. Please let me know if you are able to access it. Just check if you are able to access it. Click on that link and start filling in. Then we will have a conversation on them. Just click on that and please let me know if you are able to access it. You're able to access it. Thank you. So now you will see the answers here. I'll show you the answers. Please start typing in. Please start typing in if you're able to access it. So what are some of the tools that you use to engage students in the classroom? Word, PowerPoint, Google Forms, Zoom, Notepad. Yeah, Sujata ma'am, whatever you have said, you can enter that there as well. Solving case studies, assignments, exercises. Yes, surprise objective type, very nice. So then, yes, TED Talks, yes. That's a flipped classroom that you can use. Canva, okay. Whiteboard. Yeah, whiteboard on Zoom, that is available, that is accessible to all of us. Yeah, just activities, fun activities. Yes. And just seeing if any new thing is popping up. Jamboard, yes, Jamboard, Slido, Unote PDF with Kiwi. See, a lot of new things are coming out. Very nice. See, we all invest time in using new tools to engage our students. Small cases and discuss, yes. Online quiz, worksheets, yes, worksheets, Mentimeter, yes, thank you. I see that a few of you use Mentimeter also. Yes, there are many such. Kahoot. Kahoot is also one of the the good application that you can use for conducting quizzes. The students will enjoy doing quizzes if you use Kahoot, wherein you can upload pictures also in the Kahoot quizzes. Catchy slogans, smart classrooms, calling students on board, group discussion. Yes, Google Classroom. Yeah, so that's it. Article discussion, yes. Poll, yes, polls also we can use in the Zoom. Then and then we can create the poll and have a discussion on it. If a few students say yes, if others say no, how do we engage them? How do we have the discussion? Online quiz, case study, HBS, yes. Relative examples, yes. Yes, done. Yes, if any of you want to speak on this, you can raise the hand, and then while your colleagues are typing in, we can have. If any of you want to explain further on any other creative thing that you do. Yeah. animator. I see some of them coming here, breakouts, polling. Ma'am, have anybody raised their hand to talk?
No, ma'am, nobody has raised their hands.
Okay, okay, fine.
Someone wants to share, please raise your hand.
Yeah, you can share and then we can proceed further. If there are no, then we can go ahead with the session. Yeah, Kahoot is in Google Forms. Yes. So blockchain. Yeah, okay. So I will share this screenshot with you. So you can share in the WhatsApp group, ma'am, for later. Yeah. So now we will further continue with the one another tool. We'll get an idea on one another tool that you could use. You all have said about Google Forms, right? So we will see how you will use this. So here it is. I'm sharing the Google Form link here in the chat box. Just check if you are able to access that. Please let me know if you are able to access the Google Form. Are you able to access the Google Form? Please say yes or no in the chat box. Yes, please fill in that. Take 10 minutes time because you have to read it and answer it. It's 12:20, 12:30. We'll have the discussion on that. Please fill that form, Google Form. 12:30, we can have the discussion on it.
Ma'am, it's not audible. Maybe you have muted.
I unmuted. Sorry. So I was saying, don't worry about the scores. See, there is no right or wrong answer in the management education. As you are also aware, every answer is right, but it is according to your situation, according to you. What do you think is the right decision that you make, right? So don't worry about your scores. It's just it was given just for fun. So ideal answers would be there, and then the alternate answers would be there for each situation, right? That's where you might have scored less. So don't worry about it. So there is no need of information of the score. No problem if you have not received the score. If all of you have done, then we can have the conversation, or meanwhile, when your friends, colleagues are doing it, we can start the discussion. So what did you see in that form? What did you learn by answering that form? How can you integrate that learning into the classroom? Anyone who would like to answer? Employee engagement, okay. We will talk about employee engagement to the students. The concept can be related to it. Yes, okay. Then, yes, Divyesh sir, please go ahead. Divyesh sir, you would like to answer? You would like to share your thoughts? I think he doesn't want to, yeah. Yeah, anybody else who would like to share your thoughts on what you have done now? How would you integrate it into the classroom learning? How will you do it? What did you do in the form, Google form, when you were doing it? What concepts you can relate it to? See, in a classroom, we are not only to teach. We are not only here to teach the concepts or theories. All of them are going to get into the workplace, right? Irrespective of the discipline they are in, be it an engineer, chemist, or arts, or science, or management. Every one of them are going to get into the workplace. They have to work in teams. They have to work with people. They have to work with different kinds of people, right? So it is important for us to also make them learn some of the soft skills in the. Yes, Divyesh sir, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Please go ahead.
Basically, I'm not a teacher. I'm from corporate, and I'm a research scholar. So, so out of the questions that you have posted over there, I feel that these concepts can be related to employee engagement and employees' willingness to take up additional responsibility when given an opportunity, and it can also be related to how peer-to-peer communication has to be, and how clashes can be managed within the team. Team cohesiveness. So all these can be related, and then I think we can have a discussion on that.
Yes. Thank you, Divyesh sir. Yes, Saurabh sir. Thank you, sir, for that information, insight.
Thank you,
Saurabh sir. Saurabh sir, please go ahead. Saurabh ji, please go ahead. Yes, Saurabh sir, and also we have given situations there like that. You can also create situations depending upon the disciplines that you are in, and give them these type of situations to them, and put them in the place of a decision maker and ask them what will they do. Then that will create a discussion inside the classroom. That will generate ideas, and also the participation can be there inside the classroom. It can be done even in the online sessions. It would be more interactive, right? So we can make them more interactive by giving this type of surveys or Google Forms, and can engage students. Any other thoughts? Anybody else who would like to behavioral aspects at workplace? Yes, and by this can be used as a what you say, selective tool for the employees, new recruits in the organization. So it will also, every individual needs to be respected with dignity. Yes. Will also able to understand how the person is thinking, how individual is thinking based on the answer received. Sujata ma'am, yes, please go ahead, ma'am.
Madam.
Yes, ma'am, please.
There is leg pulling sort of things that takes place at the workplace, right?
Yes, yes.
So how to manage that part? Kindly give some insights into it. I will be very grateful to you.
Come again, please. It was not clear to me. The question was not clear to me. Please come again.
There are certain leg pulling type of activities that takes place in the work premises. How to get rid from this? How to manage this thing at the work?
Yeah. For example. For example, can you give me an example?
Suppose you're going to conduct something for your department and it has not been allowed, or somewhere it is somehow it get cancelled, and how I mean it also affects the behavioral aspects, or you can say the emotional aspects of the individual.
Yes. So how do you convince? How do you make them persuade? How do you make them persuade to make it happen? How do you make the individuals using persuasive communication? How can you make it happen? So those type of tools that if you can, if you are talking about yourself, or it is for the students, from students' perspective, ma'am?
No, it is for, because just now you took our that quiz,
Yes,
situational based. Yeah.
Yes.
It is not from the student angle. It's from, individual perspective.
Yes, from individual perspective. If you want to handle any of the activity, if you want to carry out any activity, but the management is not allowing it to do. Is it? Am I right?
Yeah.
Is that the question? So you have to find ways of convincing. First, you have to understand what the management require. How I can convince them so that, see, for example, I will tell you an example. In one of the organizations that I have worked with, I have proposed a case study FDP on case study, case discussion methodology, but that was not accepted. And I proposed in such a way that the participants will get hands-on experience. So it's like participants will be the facilitators, wherein we will act as a moderator kind of thing. They will be the people who will be handling the cases, and they will first we will train them on how it usually happens. Case discussion happens in the classroom, and then they will take the role of a facilitator, and we will be the students, and they will be acting as a facilitator. That was the idea that I have proposed. But the management was not convinced. So they said, what is the uniqueness in it? What is the uniqueness that you are bringing in? So then I try to convince them that we will have a mentors for, even before the FDP is going to start, we will have mentors for all these faculty members, and we will train them. And during the FDP session, on the first day will be the introduction, followed by the hands-on experience to them, where each participant in the FDP will be handling a session, will be handling half a day, and we will be there as a facilitator in telling them, after they handle the case, what are some of the changes that they can bring in, how more effectively they can handle the case. And also after the FDP is completed, we can also sit in some of their classes when they are handling the cases in the classroom, and can guide them so that they will be able to take it over. the case discussion methodology is new, though it is extensively used in IIMs, IITs or NITs. In some of the institutions, it is not yet prevalent. So my objective was to get it pervasive across the management institutions in the country. So initially they were not convinced, but when I told them that we will handhold them even after they go back to their colleges, then they got convinced. Right? So you need to find ways. The way you communicate with them also matters. So you can identify the ways in convincing the management. Did I answer you, ma'am?
Yeah, got it, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Yes, Varalakshmi, ma'am, you would like to, we will have to convince how the activities are good for the, yes. Yes. Varalakshmi, ma'am, please go ahead. I usually, yes.
Is it audible?
Please go ahead, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it is audible. It is audible.
Actually, I have a mixed experience. Like I worked for corporate companies and also in education institutes.
Yes.
So, yeah, the first very bad experience I had is that was my first class. All the students were not willing to have that subject because the management has fixed that subject, which is an optional. But I tried to convince those people by saying that that subject has that is a distributed operating system. So which wide like importance in the industry, and those people want to opt for multimedia. So I given a clear picture of because I had already worked in Satyam at that time. So experience for them, like they could able to work with the remote login and all. So how it happens and all the practical experience I have given to them. So then they have come to a like conclusion that yeah, this is distributed operating system is the best one, which management has already fixed it. So all the students got in favor of me and started taking the subject. So I could able to convince those people over there.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. So the application of it, you were able to convince them how it can be applied in the real world.
Yeah, and also the first question you have given, like in the management, how do you, if they give a separate task, would you like point out or something or continue the work without questioning? I usually point out if there is additional work which is not related to the subject, because we come there for teaching and we have to do 100% justice for the students. Okay. But instead of that, for a clerical work, they should hire someone for a clerical work. Instead of that, they're misusing the hours of us.
Yes.
Point of view. So I question there.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity to talk over here.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Saurabh sir. Saurabh sir, please go ahead.
Yeah,
Saurabh sir, yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I'm in conversation with both undergraduate and graduate students, even postgraduate students. But main challenge is how to, convince them to be a part of the, lecture.
Yes.
For undergraduate students, there is a problem that they are very less oriented towards their study.
Yes.
So, so I just generally try to see them, videos.
Yes.
Case study, group discussion kind of thing. But again, there are few students who are hardly bothered to be a part of that. So I just want to know, there is a section of students who are not interested. So how should we, make them be a part of that particular activity?
Yes.
Although, 70-80% are, okay, they will be a part of that, but still 30% are that they will not be a part of that. So how could we involve them? This is my questions to you, ma'am.
Yes. So, see, all the students may not be extroverts. If you are having a group discussions or something, they may not participate in.
Right.
So that's where we have to use group interactions. They may not talk on the forum, but they will be talking within the group. You have that group discussions, you allow them to have a group formation, and you have the interaction within the group, so that the introverts, they will talk within the group, and they will be able to share, they will be able to learn from each other. It is not that they are not learning, they don't have good ideas, they have, but it's just that they are not.
They don't want to expose themselves.
Yes. So during that time, you can have these type of group discussions. You allow them to interact within the group and let the leader in the group come back and share their insights. Or you can have games, conduct games, management games. There are a lot of management games and a lot of in the website. If you search, you will get a lot of management games available. You can use them and to participate in the learning process.
Ma'am,
Yes,
we also have seen that there are students, if you forcefully involve them in group discussion, then later on they be a part of that group discussion, ma'am. So first of all, you will have to forcefully involve them for
yes,
activities.
Yes. First, you have to have an. So what I usually do in my classes is ranges from 50 minutes. It is for 50 minutes. I take class only for 30 minutes. And then the rest 20 minutes I spent on talking about what they will do after graduation, or some of the values, some of the attitudes, or some of the attributes, or there are a lot of videos that we can show and tell them what did you learn from them. What did you learn from that video? So if you have that type of conversations, maybe then they will participate actively. When you start talking, apart from the theory or the concept, when you start talking about general things, they will start participating, and slowly you can ingrain them into your participation in your subject related courses. So that's how I usually do.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome, sir. Yeah. Any others who would like to share your thought before I collaborative method of learning? Yes. Interactive methodology teaching, virtual tour. Yes. Google Earth has that virtual tour. If you're teaching history or geography, then now even I heard that in the science you have the virtual labs. So through virtual labs only they are engaging the students for chemistry or biology. They have virtual labs now. Yes, yes, Brinda ma'am, you would like to share your thought? Learning by doing things. Yes. Give them problems to solve, because that requires concepts learned to be applied. Learning with real-time examples. Yes, exactly. Brinda ma'am, would you like to talk before I move forward?
No, ma'am, you can proceed, ma'am, no problem. Yeah, I usually use for the virtual tool to interact with the students. Then automatically they will be getting more interact with me, and then they will be listening for my classes. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, thank you. So situation analysis is one activity that you can do, so that the participants will the students will get engaged in your learning sessions. So we all have to take the role of a facilitator. I feel that we have to facilitate them in the learning process. We are not teachers. We need not teach. A lot of stuff is available right now in the Google and in the books. A lot of e-books are available. They get to know from different sources from social media, right? So we have to be a facilitator of learning. We in the learning process, and we can have breakout rooms or group activity. I have planned for a breakout room activity, but I think we don't have a breakout room, so I will pause it for now. We'll come back to it if we have time for doing that activity, right? So before I go forward, let me share you one more example how you can relate your concepts with the real world, the things that happen around you. Let's say I'm a new professor and I'm getting into a classroom and I'm given a topic to teach revenue recognition. Revenue recognition is a big topic in accounting, right? And when you hear the word itself, oh my God, that's a big topic which you will get to know that, I mean, how will I'm going to understand? See, there are many ways of teaching revenue recognition. You can say, you can do using a lecture method, or you can describe define the definition, describe it and what it is. Right? Let's see if this helps. You say that, see, you're a flower shop owner. You're a flower shop owner. And what does the flower shop owner do? He or she sells flowers, right? So at the end of the week, the flower shop owner makes 10,000 rupees revenue, 10,000 rupees of sales, 10,000 rupees of sales of flowers. He or she has sold 10,000 rupees worth flowers, right? So on Friday night, the flower shop owner closes the book, right? So what is the revenue that the flower shop owner has got? What is the revenue? What is the revenue? Anyone? 10,000. Yes, that's what they say. So on a Saturday morning, the flower shop owner receives flowers worth 1,000 rupees back. 1,000 rupees back. 1,000 rupees worth flowers back he or she receives on a Saturday morning. Right. So is the 10,000 rupees revenue correct? It is not. So what would the flower shop owner do? He or she would look at the last 12 weeks or last 10 weeks sales and see that he or she usually gets 1,000 rupees worth flowers back. So when you are closing the book on Friday night, if you introduce that, so on an average 10% worth of flowers are getting returned for the past 12 weeks. If you include that 10%, so 10,000 is the sales and 10% is the, what is that? Contingency, right? So 10,000 contingency if he includes, what is the revenue now? What is the revenue that the flower shop owner receives? What is the revenue right now for the flower shop owner? 10,000 is the sale and contingency is he or she includes a contingency of 10% of the 10,000, which is 1,000. 9,000 is the revenue. So that's the revenue recognition, right? If you say this example and relate it to revenue recognition, will students be not able to relate to it? When I was telling this example, did you all see flower shop owner in front of you? The flower, the seller, the person who is bringing the flowers and returning the flowers, and the book he is maintaining. Did you all see that in front of you? Did you all see that in front of you when I was explaining this story to you? Yes, yes. So that's like that. So think creatively and try to bring in the examples in and around you so that they will be also able to relate it to it. They will be also able to relate to see a flower. So it will also get retained. It will also retain in their memory. They will also be able to, even now, if you ask me about this example, actually as given by one of my professors in my CMS college when I studied to explain about revenue recognition. Still, I remember why, because of the story. Because of the story that he has explained, I was able to relate to it. So like that, bring in small examples which is there around you, right? So this is the flower shop owner. I don't know, some of you would have imagined a girl, some of you would have imagined a man, right? So it depends. So we can use role plays, we can use cases, and we can use interactive session and video analysis. So I would like to show a video and we'll get back to it, how we can use that video analysis in the classroom. So I'll just share the link. I'm sharing the video here. Give me a second. Yes. So please let me know if it is audible to you all, okay? It is just 5 minutes video.
Company, ladies and gentlemen, is under siege from Gordon Gekko. Tells our papers now leveraged to the hilt like some piss-poor South American company. I strongly recommend you to see these Mr. Gecko's shameless integrity, stripped his company, and severely penalized the stockholders. I strongly recommend you to reject his tender by voting for management's restructuring of the stock. I think.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity you're giving me, Mr. Cromwell, as the single largest shareholder in Teldar Paper to speak. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality. America has become a second-rate power. Its trade deficit and its fiscal deficit are at nightmare proportions. Now, in the days of the free market, when our country was a top industrial power, there was accountability to the stockholder. The Carnegies, the Mellons, the men that built this great industrial empire made sure of it because it was their money at stake. Today, management has no stake in the company. Altogether, these men sitting up here own less than 3% of the company. And where does Mr. Cromwell put his $1 million salary? Not in Teldar stock. He owns less than 1%. You own the company. That's right. You, the stockholder, and you are all being royally screwed over by these bureaucrats with their steak lunches, their hunting and fishing trips, their corporate jets and golden parachutes.
This is an outrage. You're out of line, Gecko.
Teldar Paper, Mr. Cromwell, Teldar Paper has 33 different vice presidents, each earning over $200,000 a year. Now, I have spent the last 2 months analyzing what all these guys do, and I still can't figure it out. One thing I do know is that our paper company lost $110 million last year, and I'll bet that half of that was spent in all the paperwork going back and forth between all these vice presidents. The new law of evolution in corporate America seems to be survival of the unfittest. Well, in my book, you either do it right or you get eliminated. In the last 7 deals that I've been involved with, there were 2.5 million stockholders who have made a pre-tax profit of $12 billion. Thank you. I am not a destroyer of companies. I am a liberator of them. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge, has marked the upward surge of mankind, and greed, you mark my words, will not only save Teldar Paper, but that other malfunctioning corporation called the USA. Thank you very much.
So did you all see this? So what, you can do a video analysis of this. You can share this video. You can share this video before the session, and you can have it. Are you all able to hear me?
Audible, ma'am. It's audible. It's audible, ma'am.
So what do you think? What lessons can be learned from this video?
Participants, audible? Share your thoughts. Ma'am, you're muted, ma'am. Rekha ma'am, it's muted. We are not able to hear you. Ma'am, still unable to hear you, ma'am.
Are you all able to hear me? No?
Audible now, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Is it audible to you what I'm speaking?
Yeah. So, am I audible now?
So audible, ma'am. I think your Bluetooth had switched on.
Yeah, I switched off. I switched off it actually. I removed it.
Some lag, I think.
Yeah. Yes. So I logged into the mobile now. So meanwhile, my
Yeah, ma'am. Now it's clear.
It's clear now. Yeah. Yeah. So what did you learn from the video? Or what learnings can be integrated in the classroom? Anybody? Anybody who would like to share their thoughts? Let me see in the chat. I am not able to see anything in the chat here. If you have shared. Yeah. I saw that somebody said about
Varalakshmi Danda madam has put that taking ownership in responding to the situation.
Yes.
That video as per my perspective.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So where can we use that in the classroom? How can we use? Anybody who would like to share, unmute and talk. See, I will give you a clue. You can use this to link it with 7 C's of communication. irrespective of the discipline that you are in. You can teach these learnings to your sessions, irrespective of the discipline. You can use this video to tell them the stresses, the pauses, the tone, the modulation that you have to use while you're presenting when you get into the workplace. Right. So these are some of the things that can be, and also some of the behavioral aspects also can be pointed out. See, if you have to convince leadership concept, organizational behavior modification. Okay. Yeah. And also, you see, what if you have to convince on a point to anybody, what is that you have to do? You have to do a research. You have to be confident on the topic that you are talking on. Right, that this lesson can be imparted to any student irrespective of the discipline that they belong to. Right, social work practice. Yes. So if you have observed, the body language of the person also is important. The way he is taking up the mic, we all would have thought that he is now going to fight with the people. Right, Varalakshmi ma'am, yes, please go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I noticed that body language, and
yes,
he has the guts to express, and he took like in a fun way. He started, but he wanted to express what he wants in a proper way.
Yes,
the same situation happened for me also. Like every there, like say I used to teach for microcontrollers, a subject which has lot of heavy drawings, and I usually prepare PPTs. I used to take the class like using the PowerPoint presenter and all. So, but our some lecture, I don't want to mention their names and all. So they are like old conventional method of teaching, like on the board, and they want. So they need, like if I draw the whole circuit, it takes the whole class. So I implemented that in like 8 years back only. So
yes,
so like those people didn't like it, but later I convinced them that it is waste of time because the schedule is very less and we have to get the maximum benefit. We have to give the maximum benefit to the students. So I usually do that. I don't care about the management or what. Everyone will benefit out of that. Initially, they may think that I'm very rude, but finally, both are the beneficiary. That is what I want.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am, for giving this opportunity.
Yes, thank you. Yes. Any others who would like to
madam,
share?
I have a point to say here.
Yes, please.
Madam, I teach law and management subjects. Especially we talk most part of the rights only. We'll never talk about duties.
Yes.
So we need to enforce the duties, which is very important. Then automatically the privilege of asking rights will come out here. That is one thing. When you are talking about macroeconomics aspects, the individual comes first, then comes the nation. Nation is built up with the individual empowerment. So that is to be highlighted here. Thank you, madam.
Yes. First micro, then move on to the macro aspects. Thank you, sir. Yes. Any others who would like to share your thought?
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you're audible, ma'am. Yes, please go ahead.
I'm Dr. Jiva here. It is really great to see that people are sharing their thoughts. And just now, madam told that it takes time to convince some old thoughts and sort. But I think the last 1.5 years has given us a proper lesson and a hint that how there is a digital transformation, the topic what you are trying to explore since last 1 hour. So I think it's time that without hesitation, we need to embrace technology and look forward for what are the tools. Your Mentimeter showed us so many tools we didn't know. Thanks for bringing that activity, ma'am. I just wanted to add on this point.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you. I just want to share the learnings. This is the forum that we all can also share. We also have learned from others as well. There are other tools that are available. Yes, thank you for that insight. Yes, it is coming up my laptop. I'm just opening it. Yeah. Any others? Meanwhile, if you have any thoughts to share. I'm not able to see in the chat if anything else. Everyone need to be humble in the approach. Yes. And also, if you see in the middle of the video, I mean, in the middle of the way the person is anchoring, and from the management there was a voice raised. That then he didn't even bother about it, right? And that's when he started using the evidences. What he has done, he went on to do analysis for the past 2 months, and he brought out all those points. Leader qualities explored. Yes. 1 minute. I'm just typing in so that I will be able to join the webinar. Yes, I am there.
Recording in progress.
I think Madam has a lag. Probably she will just join us quickly. If you have any questions, please post in the QA sections. We don't see any questions as of now. And I think since the session was interactive, most of the questions, discussions was happening between the sessions. We have another 20 minutes to go on. We will wait. Yeah, Madam is there, right? Okay, let me just make you a host. Just check quickly. Okay, Madam is there. Maybe she just rejoined again. Yeah, she's there. Yes, ma'am, you have been added as the host. Nagarika, ma'am. Madam, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I'm able to. Are you able to hear me?
It's clear, ma'am. I think your laptop is up. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. So all these technical glitches will be there in our sessions, no? Yes, my laptop created a problem, so I have to restart it. Yeah. Yes.
Just talking to the audience and asking them to post the questions, and they were engaged. No worries at all. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but Lakshmi ma'am, I see a hand raised. So you would like to say something before I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please go ahead.
Actually, I also deal with the people, students especially, people who come with a lower financial status. I usually motivate them because their parents hard-earned money, they're misusing it. They come for study over here, but they roam and they unnecessarily waste their parents' money. So I used to motivate them because the parents' hard-earned money should not be wasted. So most of the guys, they have heard, and after that they placed in a good MNCs, and that guy started. Those people, they started running after me while I'm going to Accenture in Hyderabad. Still, they remember me. Wherever I go, I leave a mark. Say give them all sides of info,
yes,
or motivation, learning the concept, implementing them, and how the industry looks like, how to help the farmer who are committing suicide. That is more of my concern, actually.
Yes.
That is all what I wanted to say, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. That is what exactly, which I was also trying to say, that you have to get into their lives. Don't only talk about the theory or the concepts of the subject. Talk about the general things, the things that will be useful for them when they get graduated, right? Yeah. So another tool that you can also use to link your concepts with the the concepts, or make the students learn effectively, or make it as a fun as story. You can tell stories to who will not be interested in listening to stories, right? So you can use stories and relate it to the concept. I will share an example how you can do it. Let's say, so I have this friend named Melvin, who is a catering management, hotel management student, went on to do MBA. Okay, and he's my good friend, and we studied together in MBA, and it's been more than 10 years that we have met. And he is an hotel management graduate. Now he is venturing into a business. He would like to start a business. He happened to come to Hyderabad. He called me, and he knows that I have done my PhD. I completed my PhD. I am into research. He called me, said, Rika, I want to meet you in a cafe coffee shop. Then we met in this cafe coffee shop. In the cafe coffee shop, he just pulled out analysis, the data that he has collected, and he gave it to me. He pulled out a paper with full of data and gave it to me. And I said, wait, what is this? He said, Rika, you know that I am a hotel management graduate, but I would like to venture into a business right now. I went to Delhi and attended one of the exhibitions where I saw that a person was exhibiting a tea making machine which uses milk. You are also aware that in Kerala, many of the tea making stalls use machines that use powder to make tea. But I saw there is an opportunity here that I can grab and introduce this tea making machine which uses milk in Kerala across the country. I wanted to know, if I introduce this, will they be buying these products? Will they buy the tea making machine which uses milk? Okay, that's his objective. He said, okay, what is the problem? Can you please define what is the problem that you have studied? He went perplexed. Problem? What is the problem? I didn't understand. What is the problem? Then I got perplexed, and I said, see, you need to know what is the, on which problem you're studying the data on. What is the problem? So if you want to introduce it, you would have gone ahead and introducing it. And why do you want to study the sales of whether there will be sales for this product, right? Then he went on to say, I want to see whether the tea making stall owners would be willing to replace this machine with the new machine. They are using a tea making machine which uses powder. Will they be willing to replace with a new machine? So that's the problem that he wants to study. But what is the data that he has collected on? Whether his machine will have sales if he introduces it. If that is that a good way of, will it yield any results? No. What is the first and foremost step in doing a research? That identifying a problem, right? Identifying a problem is the foremost thing before you go ahead with further proceeding with the research. Otherwise, the research is like you have to go step by step. It is not it is not done individually, right? It is gone step by step. First, you have to identify the problem. Then you have to do literature review. Then it follows a step-by-step procedure. But what he has done, he wanted to understand whether there will be sales for his machine, and he went on to collect the data. But the actual problem that he want to study is where the willingness of the tea making stall owners, right? So this story can be put forward to the students to make them understand how important it is to identify the problem before going ahead with the research process. So I took this example because all of us can understand irrespective of the discipline we are in. So this is how you can relate it to the real life examples while you're teaching the concepts in the classroom. Yes, any thoughts? Yes, a well-defined problem is half solved. Exactly, sir. Yes. So that if we want to tell them that, if we can tell this story and relate it to it, they will be able to understand it. They will be able to remember it also, right? So what is the time right now? I have another 10 minutes. So we will quickly. Another 15 minutes, right? I have another 15 minutes.
Yes,
so we will
you have 15 minutes, and since most of the questions were there during the discussion, we have one question from Varalakshmi ma'am. How blockchain technology can be implemented in this education field? Maybe you can just look into this question after completing your slides, ma'am.
Yes. I will come back to that later. Yes. So here, so I would like to also say, I'm sure that you all must be familiar with this research methodology. I've chosen this topic because I thought, irrespective of the discipline we are in, we might be able to relate it to it. Can I get some yeses or nos on the chat box before I proceed further? Will all of us will be able to relate to this sampling methods? Can I get an yes or no? Then accordingly, I will proceed further. Yes. Yes. Only 2 yeses. Yes. Okay. Now, so we will go forward and see how it goes on. Okay. So what you can, how you can discuss this sampling methods in a very simple way, where the students can understand it easily. Okay. Let's see how it is going to. I want the answers from you all only. So you can post the answers in the chat box as I am discussing it. Right. Okay, so there is this bank called People's Bank. People's Bank. Okay, People's Bank offers loans for farmers who have 1 acre of land, and they offer loans for buying machineries. Okay, for plowing fields, for using it in their farms. So that's the loans that they provided, and they wanted to, that has been introduced very newly by the People's Bank. This loan has been introduced by the People's Bank very recently, and the 6 months passed by. Now People's Bank wanted to study the impact of the loans that they have introduced, the impact and the usage of the loans by the farmers, how effective it has been. So now the People's Bank, appoint a researcher named Shamili. Okay, Shamili or Ramesh, whoever it can be, the researcher. Okay, appoints a researcher, and the researcher is asked to study the effect of the loans utilized by the farmers. Okay, now, and this bank is there across the country. This bank is there across the country, and now the researcher is given a list of the farmers who use these loans, who has been utilized by the loans. We have utilized these loans by the farmers. The bank gives them the list of the farmers, whoever has utilized or whoever has availed the loan. Now the researcher is asked to go to village A and collect the data. Go to a village A with the list of farmers and collect the data from the people. Which sampling method will they use? Which sampling method would you suggest Shamili to use if the list of farmers who are using the loan, who have availed the loans, is provided, which sampling method would you suggest? Purposive? Is it purposive? Purposive, yes, could be purposive, can be purposive, because we said that the farmers who have availed loans. Yes, purposive. Any other sampling methodology that can be used among these? Any other sampling methodology that can be used among the methods? Convenience sampling, no. You are given the list of the farmers who are availed. Simple random, yes, simple random can be used. Stratified sampling, no, not stratified sampling. Simple random can be used. Then snowball, no. Census, systematic, yes, systematic and simple random can be used. Systematic, why? Because simple random can be used because the list is available. Systematic is choosing an nth farmer in the list, right? So the researcher can use either simple random or systematic. Now let's say no data is given to the researcher. The People's Bank have not given any data regarding the utilization of loans by the farmers in the village. He or she is just asked to go to village A and collect the sample, collect the data. Which sampling methodology would you suggest her to do? Which sampling methodology would you suggest her to do to collect the data? No information is given to the researcher. She or he is asked to go to the village. No information is given. No, not judgmental or purposive. It is not judgmental or purposive. Snowball, yes, snowball, convenience. Snowball is if you know a farmer, if you can identify a farmer or a person in the village who is influencer, can find out which farmer is have availed the loan, and you can go to the farmer, and then from that farmer you can find out who others have used it. Then you can go on. That's one method, convenient sampling. Then the other one which you have said, snowball sampling. But what I have explained just now is snowball, going from one person to another person to another. Convenient sampling can also be done. Just go around, whoever is available, just talk to the people, whoever is available loan, collect the data from. Yes, like that. Now, the People's Bank tells the researcher that we have introduced these loans in 10 states. Okay, now the researcher have to collect the data from 10 states. Which sampling methodology would you suggest? Which sampling methodology would you suggest? Quota? No. You could use either cluster or a stratified sampling. When do you use quota sampling? When do you use quota sampling? Quota sampling, see, let's say if the People's Bank tells the researcher that we have 15 men farmers and 20 female farmers, right? So you have to go and collect the data from these 15 men and 15 female, 25 female farmers. That time when you have to go for that type of thing, then you go for quota sampling. Right. Okay. Now you, without much ado, I will just 2 or 3 more slides. I will finish that off. So what I want to leave you all with some key learnings or key takeaways from this session. Let's see if we can, apart from the content, if we can also bring in emotion into the classroom, if we can relate to them, if we can talk about general things that are useful to them, then it will be engaging. It will be engaging, and students will also participate in your sessions. And context colors everything. Context is you have to bring in that context. If you're explaining the concept, you can bring in a flower shop owner or a researcher or something that can be related to that is familiar to them in and around them. Then then the participation or it would be engaging. Less is more means that don't think that if I'm going to the session, I want to teach everything about this concept. No, it is impossible. You will have 2 or 3 objectives for the session. Teach that. That is enough. If they have learned that, whatever they have learned, if they have learned it correctly, that is enough. Don't ever have overconfidence that I want to teach all the concepts related to this. No, it's less is more. It's fine. Even if it is less, let them explore. Give them a chance to explore and find out more. Right, about that concept. And every participant is one of a kind. Where one of the Saurus, sir, I think he has explained, no, if there are students who were not willing to participate in the classroom, what do we do? For them, have these group discussions wherein they will participate. Every student, all students are not the same. Some of them will participate, some of them are extroverts, some of them are introverts. It is not that they don't have ideas. They do have ideas, but how do we bring those ideas into the forum? By making them participate in the groups. Let them share within the group and come back and share in the forum. So come back and share the lessons. A team can share, or the leader can share, or other participant can share in the classroom. Begin with the end. When you go to the session, think about at the end of this session, what do my students learn from this session? What are the 1 or 2 learnings I want my students to learn? Have that in the beginning itself, right? You have that clarity. At the end of this session, what learnings my students should take away from this session? And every class is an opportunity to learn. It is not that we are facilitating them in learning. We are also learning. Have open-minded. Be open-minded and listen to them also. Learn from them, right? And I want, these are some points that you can also take in, that connecting with the audience is important. See, study the audience, study the students. Some of you have, one of you have said that they come from the rural background and they are from a backward, very unprivileged background or something like that. So accordingly you share your thoughts, deal with them, deal with the students. First, you have that connect with the students. Study the students, which background they are from, how they are, what is their culture. Then try to relate to them. Set up the topic that interests them. Set up the topic or share the topic in such a way that they are listening to you. Use different varieties. Don't only use lecture method. Use different forms of delivering the session. Lay out that structure. Have lead questions. You ask questions which will in turn lead to many more questions. Right? Have those lead question sessions in the classroom to engage them. And that's what is a transition from one segment to another. When you're moving in from using one methodology or to another methodology, it should feel like you're using it freely. That will happen only if you design it, if you spend time in designing your session. Right? Then you link it to underlying theory. You bring in the real life examples and link it to the concepts. Link it to the immediate world. Then you have some revisiting key points for every session, key takeaways, and end on time. End your sessions on time. And before, this is the last learning that I want you all to leave with. Well, I want to leave with you all that teaching, we all learn by teaching, right? When we teach, take feed forward. Take feed forward for them. I'm using feed forward. Feedback is usually thought as a negative word, right? Take feedback from students. Feed forward from the students and improve upon. It is always important to open to the criticisms or open to the areas of improvement and move forward. And when you teach, you become expert. When you do it repeatedly, you become an expert. Then you become a mentor. Then you mentor other colleagues, mentor your colleagues, so that they will also grow, right? Then You sit in some of your classes, some of your colleagues' classes, and observe and learn. Then experiment. Experiment in each session. All experiments may not be successful. It might work out. Some might be successful. Some might be failures. It's fine. You learn from that. Experiment, experiment, experiment. That's how you learn. You learn only by doing things, by experimenting it. So this is the lesson that I want to leave you all with. The journey to mastery, how you can become a master. And I want to hear key takeaways from my session, or I also want to hear feed forward from you anything that you have for me, or any thoughts, any suggestions, or anything that you would like to share with me. I'm here. And so there was a question on blockchain technology in education. To be honest, I have no, I'm not an expert in blockchain technology or the virtual reality or those concepts. I'm not sure about it related to that topic. I don't know how to relate it. Yeah. Any other questions, any other thoughts, or anybody who would like to share anything, please welcome. I'll be happy to hear you. I had a group activity, but I thought since breakout rooms are not there, it would consume time, you going out and having that. But it would have been very interesting if we had that. Yeah, that's fine. Any thoughts, any lessons, any key takeaways from the session? Anything you would like to share? I'm welcome to hear. Thank you. I see the motivating words. It motivates me. Thank you. That's what I said. I'm not an expert in this area, but surely I will find out and see if I can share that inputs on it. I'm not an expert in blockchain technology. I'm very sorry for it. My apologies. Yes, a good teacher has friends all over.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a great session. I think sir's laptop power cable got disconnected. In the meantime, he might join us. I think I'll just request sir to join on this desk.
Sure, sure.
And the activities were really good, ma'am. Like the Mentimeter was throwing so many things. You got many compliments also in the chat box. Thank you, all the participants.
Yes, thank you for being interactive. And you could also bring in guest speakers to your class. Now, this online sessions have that advantage, wherein the speaker need not invest time in traveling to your institute. He or she can be there anywhere and can share his learnings. Guest speakers bring in, guest speakers will add in value to your sessions.
Sure, ma'am. That's a great input. I think Professor Dr. Sengatuvel sir has joined us. So over to you.
Yeah, Professor, can we conclude? Can we conclude your session?
Yes, Professor, please.
Yeah, indeed, it is a wonderful session. This is once again, it is being proven, or it is getting proved every time. Whenever a HR person enters, whether it's a classroom or boardroom, things will be different. Because I worked for BL and HAL for more than 2 decades and came to academics. Whenever the board meeting or management committee meeting, the CMD starts first. Next serious person is finance person, always hiring and firing only there. Then operation guy comes, then R&D fellow comes, then QA. In that order comes when the HR person, now only HR, earlier actually personal. So HR person comes, the whole room, no, it becomes more, all heat, I don't know where is getting dissipated. So that is the scenario. In the cricket game, no, we used to observe this. The openers, no, they used to struggle. The middle order man comes and hits sixes and bound fours and goes. So like that, you have made the session so lively that shows that the HR person make a difference in any organization, not only in teaching, the organization context also. So in that way, Dr. Rekha is different. She is different actually in the sense because all along today's your session is 11th session, day 4, 11th session. Earlier 10 sessions, it went on on serious mode. People interacting in a own way, but nobody actually insisted. No speaker insisted. No, I required. I want to interact with the people. That shows actually the HR style of working. So really a wonderful session by Dr. Rekha on digital transformation in learning and development. Just only two, three observations only. Just I would like to make before I end the talk. One thing is, you may be an extraordinary person in terms of knowledge, but if you don't know how to manage the classroom, it will go for a toss. Okay, in a 60 minutes session, or in some cases, no, in some B schools, 75 minutes, 1 hour, 15 minutes also they put the session timing. So it is also proven by research, as OB man, no, you can also vouch for this. Every 20 minutes, no, your interest level goes, your concentration level goes. Again, no, we have to change the topic or style or lighter way, no, to bring something in between to make the focus level to the highest level. So all the 60 minutes you go and talk. Okay. At the end of the day, no, first 20 minutes only the guys know they will listen. Afterwards, they will switch off their mics. So to keep them that is where no, you started interacting, how to connect. That is where no, the real challenges comes, because the current generation students are not like our generation. The current generation students and the teachers, the difference is only 60 minutes in terms of knowledge. You may be good in experience. In terms of subject knowledge, academically if you speak, your knowledge level and your student knowledge level is only 60 minutes difference. The time lag is only 60 minutes. Because that fellow no, is keeping his mobile handset. What this Professor Sengotil is talking is really sense or not. If it doesn't make any sense, now he will close his ears. Okay, because you know thousands, hundreds of things to do better in a better way. So these are the challenges actually, the current generation teachers are facing with the current generation students. So every 20 minutes, I manage my classroom. I teach operation research, operations management, project management. These are the subjects. Supply chain management, of course, my core area. So these are the subjects when I teach. How to change that style every 20 minutes. We have to engage the students. I pull out on. Am I audible?
Yes.
So when I do problems in war operation research, first 2 steps I'll do. I'll pull out 2 students. Iteration 3 you do, iteration 4 let her do. So in the process, everyone will become alert, because they don't know when I'm going to pull the last bench students, who is always sits on the last bench. So they'll get this is how now we have to involve the students in the classroom. It should not be a monotonous thing. That is one aspect which you have clearly highlighted to the participants. Always you should have a dialogue mode or interactive mode. Allow the students to speak. After all, within 4 walls, if they are not able to speak in front of their own colleagues, own batchmates, tell me tomorrow how these managers, future managers are going to speak or address in front of 100 or 200 employees in the corporate scenario. Allow them to speak. Then only that the real things will come out. Then only they will gain the confidence. If you say, I am a teacher, I will do like this, only discipline, okay, maintain the discipline. At the same time, you should know that whether the person is really learning something or not. That should be the focus. We are not running a military school here. We are running a business school. Though these students are future managers or future technocrats or future engineers, please allow them to think differently, think very innovative manner. So that kind of ecosystem we have to maintain the classroom. So with these few points, I really enjoyed the session offered by Dr. Rekha on digital transformation and learning and development. Really, you are a very great person, because all others, technically they have gone, but HR personally, can touch really the emotions of people. So that is actually once again proven. Thank you, Professor, for your wonderful session and useful session. And the time devoted and the efforts taken to make the session happen in this way. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor, for this opportunity, and thank you all the audience over here who have participated. That made my session successful. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, dear participants, we are going to meet at 2:30. Now it is lunch break. So at 2:30 there is a session on artificial intelligence in insurance sector by Dr. Shriram. Kindly join for the session at 2:30. Now it is lunch break. You can go for lunch and stay connected at 2:30. See you all.
Professor, I'm leaving. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much.
Yeah.